and welcome to Science Nook. This is your host, Tess Consulta Francisco. So we are now here on the second episode of the photosynthetic process. So I hope before you go into this episode, you must watch the light reaction phase so that you will basically understand what I'm talking about. So this is the dark reaction phase or the light independent reaction.
It is called a dark reaction phase because it does not need light energy. It is also termed as light-independent reaction or Calvin cycle because it is named after Dr. Melvin Calvin, an American biochemist who used radioactive carbon, specifically C14, to discover the path carbon takes in the process of photosynthesis. His study made him receive a Nobel Prize in Chemistry way back in 1961. So basically, the Calvin cycle or the dark reaction phase is focusing on how carbon is processed to produce sugar molecules with the aid of enzymes. The Calvin cycle happens in the stroma. The raw materials needed for this process to occur are carbon dioxide, ATP, and NADPH. Calvin cycle or dark reaction phase is composed of three substages. First is fixation. Second is reduction phase, and the third is the regeneration phase. So let's focus on the fixation process. Before carbon dioxide enters the Calvin cycle, it must be fixed first, or they must be bonded into organic compounds, thus resulting into a 3-carbon molecule. That is why plants undergoing the Calvin cycle pathway are called C3 plants, because they start with 3-carbon molecules and produce 3-carbon sugar that will be used to make the organic compounds. After carbon dioxide is fixed, carbon dioxide enters the plant and goes inside the stroma. With the aid of enzymes in the stroma, the carbon dioxide combines with RUBP or ribulose biphosphate, which is a 5-carbon molecule, forming a 6-carbon molecule, which is a very unstable compound. And since it's very unstable, the 6-carbon molecule easily splits into 3-carbon molecule, forming 3-PGA or 3-phosphoglycyrate. Remember that the light reaction phase had end products of ATP and NADPH, which were brought into the stroma because it is needed in the dark reaction. So at this point in time, their role begins here. The 3-GPA receives a phosphate from ATP molecules, then receives a proton or hydrogen molecules from NADPH, resulting in the production of G3P or glyceraldehyde phosphate. After this, the sugar production will follow. This one G3P molecule leaves Calvin cycle and used to make carbohydrates or sugar. The other extra oxygen molecules and hydrogen molecules will be used up to produce water. The remaining G3P molecules receives a phosphate from ATP, resulting into RUBP again. These RUBP molecules enter the Calvin cycle to repeat the entire process. Thus, the end product of Calvin cycle are carbohydrates or sugar and water.
So that's it about the dark reaction phase. And before you go again, please don't forget to click the subscribe button for more Science Nook episode. And once again, this is Tess Consulta Francisco, your host. And please do watch for the last episode of this photosynthetic discussion that we are having.